today's show, we are going to be talking about three famous battleships. These three famous battleships are Battleship Arizona, BB-39, Battleship Bismarck, Battleship Yamato. Battleships in the early days were a man-of-war machine, one to be feared and respected at the same time. Perhaps one of the most feared things in the early days of battleships were pirates. Aye, matey, give me everything you own. Blackbeard was a feared English pirate. He created havoc on the Caribbean Sea. His years of active service were short-lived. Sailed the seas from 1716 to 1718. His reign of terror came to an end on November 22nd, 1718. Captured and killed by British Lieutenant Robert Menard. Aye, matey, you ain't gonna take me alive. Ever since the beginning of time when man could swim and learn to cross the water on ships, he has been fascinated with the science and mechanics of the sailing ship of the high seas. The once famous King Solomon stated he was impressed with the following three things: the way of the eagle in the sky, the way of the serpent on a rock, and this one which was really fascinated him, the way of a ship in the middle of the sea. So, it is still true today that man is impressed with one of the greatest kind of ships that ever sailed, a battleship. What a big difference there is between the old battleships and the new. Here is the USS Constitution underway and sailing out to sea. The USS Constitution, a wooden hull ship, built in 1797 by the Boston Naval Shipyard. Length 203 feet, launched on October 21st, 1797. Propulsion 3 sail masts. Armament 44 portable cannon. Top sailing speed 13 knots or 15 miles per hour. Battles of the Constitution fought: Battles of Quasi War of 1801 with Barbary States, Battle of Tripoli Harbor, War of 1812, Constitution versus HMS Garrison. What a difference there is between the ships of old and the ships of the new, as seen here in this picture. Imagine having to sleep in a hammock like this one on board your ship. If you got seasick during the storm from rolling back and forth, well, you were on your own. You also had to learn how to be a good fencer with a sword against the enemy. Old ships were guided by their sails and not by nuclear power. And wars between the ships were fought with cannons, not guided missiles. During World War II, war on the high seas were fought with the big guns as seen here. The United States had numerous battleships sailing the high seas. Battleship Arizona, BB-39. Construction began on March 16, 1914. Cost $16 million US. Construction of Battleship Arizona on March 16, 1914 at the Brooklyn Navy Yard. Arizona rose magnificently from the keel to the crow's nest above it. Here are some pictures of the Arizona under construction in this picture and the next few. The battleship Arizona was christened and launched on March 16, 1915. There were some 75,000 people who turned out to see the launch of the Arizona. The two most prominent people in attendance here were the 95th mayor of New York City, John Parole Mitchell, State of Arizona's first governor, George W.P. Hunt. It was indeed an impressive sight to watch the battleship Arizona sail up the river, sailing out of its birthplace of the Brooklyn Naval Yard and into the Atlantic Ocean and sail to England and join the U.S. 6th Battleship Division and the British Grand Fleet. BB-39's facts are: length 608 feet, speed 12 knots or 24 miles per hour, propulsion 12 Babcock and Wilcox water tube boilers. Arizona had 4 gun turrets as seen here in this blueprint. 2 gun turrets forward, 2 gun turrets aft. All 4 guns were 12-inch guns. Range 19,000 miles distance. Arizona also had 12 .45 caliber 14-inch guns like this one located around the gun turrets. Note the size of the gun as compared with a man standing on top of it. Arizona also had 50 caliber 3-inch guns to shoot down kamikaze planes from the air. Believe it or not, the battleship Arizona also had 2 20-inch torpedo tubes mounted on front of it to fire at the enemy ships as well. Weight, 29,158 tons. Arizona could carry up to 2,290 sailors on board at full capacity. At full speed, at 21 knots or 24 miles per hour, the Arizona could cruise some 8,690 miles away at any given time. 3 anchors were on board the Arizona, each weighing about 20,000 pounds each. 2 anchors port, 1 anchor starboard. The first captain of the Arizona was Rear Admiral John D. McDonald, seen here in the middle of this picture. A picture of the battleship Arizona's crew posing topside of the ship. During World War I, battleship Arizona patrolled the east coast of the United States in search of enemy vessels. BB-39 patrolling the east coast of the United States, seen here in this picture. Battleship Arizona patrolling the Atlantic Ocean with other ships. Arizona sailing the Atlantic Ocean. Arizona was first assigned what is called the Atlantic Fleet. But perhaps the thing that made the Arizona popular was the movie titled the classic 1934 film called Here Comes the Navy. The Arizona starred in this film after sailing around for some 19 years already. The Arizona can be seen in the middle of this poster between actors James Cagney and Pat O'Brien. Here are some scenes and pictures from that movie. Little did anyone then realize that 7 years later, the Arizona would sink at Pearl Harbor. Battleship Arizona also had other captains who commanded her as well. In fact, there were some 24 captains, or skippers as they are also called, who steered the Arizona. Here are some of those other skippers in the next few pictures. Captain John H. Dayton served on the Arizona from 1918 to 1920. Commanded the Arizona in order to sail to the Greco-Turk War in the Mediterranean to protect American interests there. This is what the Arizona looked like during the 1920s. It is getting ready to get underway here in this picture. It is called to action to the Mediterranean Sea off the coast of Greece. It participated during the Greco-Turk War between 1918 and 1920. The Arizona patrols the Panama Canal seen here in this picture. The Arizona sails south of the equator as well. Then the Arizona sails along the west coast, patrolling there as well. The Arizona is now reassigned to the Pacific Fleet and eventually Pearl Harbor. Arizona would eventually dock at Pearl Harbor. BB-39 was the largest battleship ever built at this time in history. Here are some amazing facts about the Arizona while it sailed during its 26 years of history. The Arizona never fired any of its big guns during war or peace at all. The next couple of pictures shows who the last two captains of the Arizona were. Captain Isaac C. Kidd, USN, who was later promoted to Fleet Admiral, commanded the Arizona from 1940 to 1941. Admiral Kidd was also killed on board the Arizona the day of Pearl Harbor attack. Captain Franklin B. Van Valkenburg, Arizona's final captain between February 5, 1941 and December 7, 1941. He too died on board the Arizona when it was attacked by the Imperial Japanese Navy. On December 7, 1941, the battleship Arizona's final resting place was Pearl Harbor. 1,177 sailors perished, while some 350 had survived. Construction of a memorial began to be built for the Arizona in 1962. Today, some 2 million visitors annually visit the memorial to pay their respects to those fallen sailors. Our second popular battleship we will now take a look at is Nazi battleship Bismarck, B-2. The Germans' largest battleship ever built. Battleship Bismarck was named after this gentleman seen in this picture. Otto von Bismarck, born April 1st, 1815, died July 30th, 1898, age 83. Von Bismarck was a politician who helped unify the German states as seen on the map in the next picture. Otto von Bismarck was a politician from 1860 to 1890. Bismarck was appointed as Minister-President of Prussia in 1862. He was appointed by King Wilhelm I and instigated 3 brief wars with Denmark, Austria, and France. Adolf Hitler rose to power in Germany in January 1933. He became the Chancellor of Germany at a time when the Great Depression was taking hold of the whole world. Adolf Hitler promised prosperity for the hard-working German people. The Germans after World War I were forbidden to build any military equipment by the Allies. However, Hitler was secretly diverting the reconstruction money to building a huge military power once again. The construction of the battleship Bismarck began on July 3, 1936. The Bismarck began to rise from its keel at the Blom and Voss Naval Yard as seen here in this picture. Bismarck would now become the second largest battleship ever built. Here are some pictures of Bismarck's construction. Ceremonial launch date was February 14, 1936. Soon the whole world would be engulfed in another world war with Germany. Hitler was present at the ceremonial launch of the Bismarck and christened her as well. Bismarck was launched from a place like this and into the keel bait seen in the background. Battleship Bismarck is sliding down the ramp and into the waters of Kiel Bay. Here is a map location where Kiel Bay is. The bay is located in the Baltic Sea. Captain Ernst Lindemann was the first and only skipper to command the battleship Bismarck. His command will only last for 8 months. Here in this picture, the Bismarck begins heading out to sea for its sea trials. The next few pictures shows Bismarck's sea trials. Battleship Bismarck's facts. Length 792 feet and 8 inches. 184 feet longer than the Arizona. Weight 41,000 tons. Crew 103 officers and 1,962 enlisted men. Speed, top speed 30 knots or 34 miles per hour. Bismarck's facts. 12 Wagner superheated boilers. 3 geared turbines. 3 blade screws. At the speed of 19 knots or 22 miles per hour, Bismarck could travel 10,210 miles away from where she began without stopping. Armament, 4-gun turrets. Note the size of the guns compared to the 2 men standing on top of them. The guns of Bismarck could fire 1 shot every 18 seconds. Bismarck's purpose was to disrupt the convoys of ships sailing from America to deliver war supplies to England. Bismarck and other German ships searching for enemy ships in the Atlantic Ocean seen in this picture. Bismarck participated in only one operation during his short 8 months at sea. Operation Rheinhug, Rhine exercise. Purpose of Bismarck was to intercept Allies convoyed England and sink their ships. Here is a comparison picture of what one of those big guns looked like against the waves of the ocean. On the morning of May 24th, 1941, Bismarck intercepted HMS Hood in the Denmark Straits. The Denmark Strait is located between Greenland and Iceland as seen here on this map. At 0600 hours in the morning of May 24th, 1941, the Bismarck opens fire upon the HMS Hood. HMS Hood returns fire upon the Bismarck. Bismarck answers back towards the Hood. HMS Hood is struck by a devastating blow from the Bismarck. The HMS Hood takes a direct hit in its magazine storage and sinks within 3 minutes. 1,417 British sailors die and the pride of England is hurt. Here is the Bismarck astern of the battleship Eugene Princess. After sinking the Hood, it sails away. Now the Bismarck will become the Hunted. In the 1960s, the popular country singer Johnny Horton made history come alive once more. Singer Horton would sing the popular song as titled and seen in the next picture. Horton had a musical talent for bringing history to life when singing about it. The song came out in 1960. The ship seen here in this picture is the HMS Prince of Wales as it hunts for the Bismarck. Prime Minister Winston Churchill puts out the call to sink the Bismarck. Find that German battleship and sink those bloody warmongers. The British knew the Bismarck was crippled and was moving slowly towards its shipyard for repairs. A map of the chase to find the Bismarck and sink her as seen here. HMS Prince of Wales searching for the Bismarck. Patrol plane pilot Dennis Briggs is first to spot the Bismarck's location and drops a torpedo at it. HMS Prince of Wales finds Bismarck on May 26, 1941, and along with other Allied ships, fires at it. It takes some 400 shells to sink the German battleship. Bismarck is sinking. 2,206 German sailors die in this battle. Arrows play here in this picture where the location of the battleships are in this battle. Only about 110 German sailors were rescued that day by the Allies. Today, here is where the battleship Bismarck lays on the cold bottom of the Atlantic Ocean. Our third and final great battleship we look at now is called Imperial Japanese Battleship Yamato. Third and final largest battleship ever built. Length 862 feet long. Weight 65,027 tons. Top speed 27 knots or 31 miles per hour. Construction of Yamato was built at Kure Naval Arsenal. Kure is located in the middle of this map. Yamato is named after the Yamato province. Construction of the Yamato begins on August 8, 1937. This picture here shows the construction of one of the 18.1 gun turret of the Yamato. The Yamato is ceremonially launched on November 4th, 1940 and becomes the ship to defeat. Captain Takayanagi is the first and only captain to command the battleship Yamato. Here is a top and side view drawing of how magnificent the battleship Yamato was. Battleship Yamato. Length 862 feet. Weight 65,027 tons. Speed, top speed was 27 knots or 31 miles per hour. Propulsion, 12 Campon boilers, 4 shafts, 4 steam turbines. Crew, 2,500 to 2,800 sailors. Here is a picture of Yamato and Bismarck. The Yamato compared to the Bismarck was 70 feet longer. Yamato, 862 feet long. Bismarck, 792 feet long. Arizona's length was 608 feet. The Yamato was 180 feet longer in length as compared to the Arizona. Sea trials began for the Yamato near Bungo Straits on October 20th, 1941. This would take place about 1.5 months before it would lead the INJ towards Pearl Harbor on December 7, 1941. Battleship Yamato participated in the Combined Fleet flagship to Pearl Harbor, Battle of Tashima, Russo-Japanese War, Battle of Midway, Battle of the Philippine Sea, Battle of Samar. This picture and the next view are the Yamato sea trials. Battleship Yamato's last battle on the seas was April 7th, 1945. About 315 American airplanes spot the Yamato in the South China Sea and begin Yamato's last battle. American airplanes descend upon Yamato, dropping their bombs relentlessly. The Yamato is damaged badly and is listing to its side and rolling over. The Yamato's magazine explodes and it sinks. The Yamato today lays down at the bottom of the South China Sea. Today, in the 21st century, the end of the battleship era has come to an end. That once mighty, fearful battleship that ruled the high seas now sits idle in the Navy shipyards only to remind us of their once glorious past. Aircraft carriers like these in this picture replace the battleship. But only time will tell what will replace the aircraft carrier in the future. How far will man's dreams carry him?